let's take a trip back to 2003, after the success of the glorious Twisted Metal Black.
I got you now, Spud!
Work began on a sequel, harnessing the dark, creepy vibe introduced in Black, and taking things to their obvious conclusion. Straight into the goddamn ground.
Oh my god!
Welcome everyone to Twisted Metal Lost, a trip through what could have been. Just over 20 very long years ago, a game now known as Twisted Metal Harbor City was under construction at Incognito Entertainment, a new Twisted Metal game, initially starting out as its own standalone project, only to later morph into a darker one, a sequel to the beloved Twisted Metal Black. A much smarter choice, if you ask me.
So very likely, we're about to see someone get killed.
Harbor City's claim to fame was going to be its interconnected world, a large freeway system that would allow players to traverse between levels. A pretty cool idea, and apparently the linchpin to its destruction. It turns out Harbor City was canceled a week after it went to alpha, because executives felt in a post-GTA world, a game without an on-foot presence would never be profitable. A bold statement for a franchise that has literally never done that. This led to the development team rethinking many of the levels, and later, the creation of missions, a mixture of classic Twisted Metal gameplay and on-foot sections, which honestly sounded super forced.
Don't try to stop me!
Oh my god.
Because they were.
Don't just stare at it, eat it.
But I'll admit, these ideas aren't bad. Asylum escape, ambulance chase, impound lot. I can imagine some cool possibilities with this stuff. And good thing for us, we don't have to. We have the luxury of digging up its old corpse and trying it out for ourselves.
You were dead! That's how you die!
As this lost relic of history, or what's left of it, was offered up for free in the extra Twisted edition of Twisted Metal Head-On. A gift from the gods, if I do say so myself.
Huh?
Yes.
Oh, love the menu transition. Beginning things off with a text scroll explaining the rise and fall of Harbor City, we see one of the major pillars as to why this game has become the myth that it has. Marketing. Early 2000s marketing. So apparently the developers faked a plane crash to explain away why the game was never finished, creating a sort of urban legend, which isn't nearly as cool as it should be. Yeah, this was a gimmick, and a brave one at that.
God, yeah!
It's like I've seen this before.
No way! Way.
Regardless, it seems the advent of the PSP was truly the nail in the coffin here. Sony demanded a title for it, so it was all hands on deck for Twisted Metal Head-On, doubling their workload and, in hindsight, dooming Harbor City. Why they couldn't just put this on hold irks the ever-living shit out of me.
For Christ's sake, make a move and stick with it, would you?
What?
I can tell you that so far, looking into this has brought me nothing but pain. I feel like I'm on a scavenger hunt in a minefield. And we haven't really even started the game. Consisting of a standard story mode that follows the usual format of older games, Harbor City also included a challenge and endurance mode, reminiscent of others in the franchise. Challenge mode allows for the creation of custom battles, with up to 7 enemy vehicles. Something that I just had to test with 7 Sweet Tooths. Honestly, I thought this would have been disastrous for myself, but quite the contrary. These assholes didn't stand a chance.
Is there no one else?
On the other hand, Endurance is a one-on-one deathmatch with a seemingly never-ending supply of enemies. Take down one, and another will take its place. Pretty straightforward, but also very fun. Like, I know we've just barely scratched the surface here, but I can tell you with great certainty that off of just these two game modes, this game leans far more towards head-on than black when it comes to difficulty.
On God.
And to test this theory,
This is it.
I decided to take things back to the beginning for story mode. Back to our first video on this franchise, and the psychopathic murderous clown we chose to take us through it. Hopefully this won't be as hard. Or will it?
We'll put their name to the test.
Level 1, Suburban Terror. Set within the sprawling backdrop of a suburban town, with 6 enemies to defeat, the classic qualities of this level had me feeling right at home, as I dished out the damage to anyone I could find. And apparently even myself. Ah, classic me. With my health now in the gutter, I frantically raced around the map, trying to salvage not only my health, but my dignity as well. Locating one along the outskirts of the map, I could finally breathe a sigh of relief and return to battle, starting with a 3 special artillery barrage. It seemed like our old friend Darkseid took the brunt of the attack, and I guess Roadkill just had to join in and get a bit of his own. Or all of it.
Whatever!
Returning to our trusty health drop for replenishment, the impatience of Junkyard Dog made him next on the chopping block. Another one down. It's like I'm 95% sure this road is a cheesy river.
And guess what? The river's running way high, so I think we're in for a pretty sweet ride, guys.
Now where is my next victim?
How do you like your wits?
Doing my best to withstand the armored plow that is Darkseid. A weak axle diverted my attention and paid dearly for it.
I'm climbing back into...
Apparently a move that Darkseid felt left out on. He just returned to get the same treatment.
Educate yourself, you fool.
With only 2 enemies remaining and 0 weapons on hand, it was time to make our rounds and collect some offense for the battle to come. On a side note, I find it adorable that this level has a bowling alley. Circling back around for another health drop, it appeared manslaughter was first up, clashing our specials together in a hail of rockets and boulders. That was crazy. This ended with a fire missile trade, which he lost. Well, it's a tit for tat on that one. With only Outlaw remaining, he appears from the shadows, running for the hills and causing a classic cat and mouse situation, until I eventually caught up with him and pounced. That was dope. Level 2, Stadium Slaughter. Once again, finding ourselves in the cozy comfort of arena combat. The continuation of 6 enemies sets the bar rather the same, and bodes well considering our 7 enemy domination from earlier. To be fair, I think this level actually had more to do with my success than my actual skill. I mean, the health drop is in the middle of the arena. Pretty hard not to fuck up. So, I could feel my confidence rise with the location of this one. On top of the arguably dumber AI. Not a complaint, more just an observation. With the confidence of a god, the cycle of health attack began. Delivering a bit of pain to everyone before obtaining our next win on the scoreboard with a homing missile to Darkseid. Which was badass. Like that might as well have been a spiral.
Deepest penetration of the night.
Mr. Grimm seemed like he wanted a piece, and actually had me on the ropes for a second. But that didn't last long. And either did Warthog. He tried to armor up to prevent the inevitable, but it was just that. And another win on the scoreboard. Grabbing another health, a sneaky Crazy 8 and Outlaw were all there remained. Which was kind of pathetic.
How about you two get on your knees and take turns sucking my sack?
seriously, this level was super easy, and maybe my favorite so far. It's just classic. Can't go wrong. Level 3. Carnival of Darkness.
It's the most fun in the park when you're laughing in the dark.
Set in a sort of updated version to what we've had before, this level finally introduced an increase to the enemy count. The thing that normally I would resent, but here, kind of welcome. Getting a lay of the land and attacking anyone and everyone I came across, this labyrinth of a level turned out to be pretty rad. It even has what I believe is like a racetrack, which contained a trusty health drop, something that I kept in mind while continuing the fight. And this was pretty insane. Like the carnage around me. Mr. Grimm flew away,
This sport doesn't build character, it reveals it.
somehow surviving his ascension into orbit. Mr. Grimm leaves a little surprise for Shadow and I. A solid move, as always, but proved to seal more of Shadow's fate than mine. Oh! Gotta race back for health. Still not great. That's better. Using the arsenal I acquired while obtaining full health, I quickly ended the reign of both Roadkill and Mr. Grimm. It was meant to be or something. Honestly, the situation I find myself in at this point is basically everyone else over a barrel. And they tried. Before I knew it, all that stood between us and victory was the weakest manslaughter ever. Ending this level with another boost of confidence and resolve for what's to come. Unfortunately for us, that would be nothing, because it's over.
No, please don't hit. No, God, damn it!
Yeah, this is sad. Apparently only having 3 maps available for story mode makes this kind of less than satisfying as a conclusion. And though I would have liked to have seen more here, like the eventual reveal of Sweet Tooth's wish, we didn't walk away completely empty-handed. Unlocking Deathport and 12-Pack, who I swear was the Beetlejuice guy for a second, the game also delivers us a creepy reward with the supposed letter sent to Sony by the deceased developers. And this is perhaps the funniest sell so far. It's like this is written to sound like a ghost wrote it, and they successfully failed. I don't know, they really tried to sell this whole developer tragedy thing, and I can't tell if it's cheap as shit or an honest attempt at making this into a cooler experience. I say this because heading into the last big thing this game has to offer, for the first time in the franchise, we get to control Sweet Tooth on foot. A rather big departure from what we know of the franchise. But honestly here, I cared less about that and was just happy to mess around and have an opportunity to experience this. Comprised of multiple factoids set across the asylum and its outer junkyard area, discovering each little bit of info and concept art was interesting and fun, and arguably does a better job at creating the mythic propaganda they were going for anyway. Like, especially with the music. It gives off this vibe that you're in some kind of chaotic, creepy museum, looking through artifacts of the past and creations that rose only to fall. It's a cool trip through history, but doesn't last all that long, unless you're like me and forget one and then have to walk all the way back. Yep, can't miss one. But soon, this all concludes when you return back to your truck for the future battles to come. Unfortunately, they never would. Well, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed my look into Twisted Metal Lost. A trip through what could have been. This was so cool to look into. And as a Twisted Metal fan, this was one of the weirdest gaming experiences I've ever had. Like a series of playable demo ideas that were just laid out for my testing and enjoyment. I definitely think the developers were on the right track with this game, and it's a shame it never really had a chance to fully become what we know now to be Harbor City. If I had any real complaints, it would be that I feel it's a lot easier than its predecessor. More like Head On 2 than Black 2. Personally, I think it's fun, and I guess it's not an end-all be-all with a simple change in difficulty. Just a very noticeable difference. Overall, this was awesome, and honestly just has me wanting more of this, and I definitely recommend it to any of you Twisted Metal fans. There's a lot to love here. Just don't be surprised if it leaves you feeling a bit lost when it eventually ends. I want to thank you guys so much for your continued love and support and patience with these videos. Life is just super busy right now, so it really means a lot.
After that, I just sort of space out for about an hour. Till I'm busy.
Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk.
I'd also like to give a very special thank you to our patrons. You guys are the best. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for what's next. And as always, thanks for watching.